share these videos. Green Card Voices shares these video stories, on their website and also on YouTube. They're actually doing a great job also on social media. So they make these videos, they share it electronically, but they also do outreach. Actually, Green Card Voices make sure that these stories get watched and they're impacting communities in a positive way. They have outreach events at various schools, universities, community groups, corporations, and festivals. But most importantly, they are developing curricula in line with the state standards based on these stories. Through video stories of immigrants, students are able to better understand, respond to, and accommodate to the cultural dimensions of fellow students who are new in the US. Educational materials are also assisting teachers to be more inclusive and welcoming in our changing society and help build cultural connections among different students. Exploring options about immigrations in the classroom. These challenges commonly held meets and prepares students to grapple with different cultural issues in a respectful, thoughtful, and productive way. Green Card Voices also organize exhibits. They have already done 2 wonderful exhibitions at the Festival of Nations in St. Paul. Just like the one stories you have seen today, they presented with portraits and QR codes that viewers can scan with iPhone or with the iPad and watching the first person video story. So far, they have done those 2 exhibitions at the Festival of Nations, and they have done it as well at Hennepin County's Hosmer and Central Library in Minneapolis. This exhibit that you just watched back here at the Intermedia Arts, beautiful place, beautiful exhibition, congratulations on that, will be held up to October 25th. So we have about a month and a half to come back, to pay more attention, to give more time, and to learn about these 100 different immigrants in Minnesota. Green Card Voices also impacts other cities in the US. Their intention is to go statewide. In fact, they have done wonderful stories in cities such as San Francisco and many others. And now, I'm going to invite you to see one of these videos by Green Card Voices. We're going to see a great example of these wonderful videos. Perhaps this is one of the most touching stories. Here is the voice. Here is the story of Marcy Malsan.
My life in Nicaragua was awesome. I was there until I was 13 years old. I was born into the society of the country. My dad is an attorney and a composer. So our life was very good. It was a happy time until I was about 13 years old. The government was not doing well. It was about to get overthrown. And the country's political situation was going from a dictatorship to a communist regime. So that was going to change everything. The grocery stores had no food to buy at the end. And I remember also that the electricity and water kept being cut off during the last few months. So we had to leave. My dad found out that a Red Cross plane, cargo plane, was coming into the country. We went to the plane and to the runway, basically, and they told my dad, there's no room for your family or your suitcases. And my dad said, well, I'll make you a deal. I'll exchange a suitcase for every kid that I'll put in my family there. So the first one that went in was my mom. And our kids, their kids, they have 6 children. I'm the second one of the 6. Some of us were in the plane, some of us were out, and it was looking like my dad was gonna have to stay behind. And then one of my sisters said, I'll stay with dad. Then she was gonna stay. Then all of a sudden, she felt this fear coming on her and she started to cry. All of a sudden, my dad is like, no, you can't stay with me. So she went on the plane and I was left next to him, standing by the plane, and I felt this abandonment feeling that came upon me. It was a terrifying thing. So then my dad decided to take more suitcases out, and I was on the plane. My dad was left behind, and I counted them. I always like numbers, so I counted them. There were 26 pieces of luggage. One suitcase made it on the plane, which was mine. And then my mom packed a little bag for each kid that had one outfit and a little bit to eat. All I can remember is seeing through the window my dad becoming smaller and smaller, just like when an airplane takes off. And I'll never forget that image. For some reason, at that time, when there were no more airplanes coming to the country, there was one that came from Argentina that had one seat left. They allowed him to get a seat on the plane, and he left all the luggage with the Red Cross. And from there, my mom's family in El Salvador and my dad's sister's family in Dominican, they bought 8 tickets for the whole family to leave El Salvador to Dominican Republic. And my mom, who had been a homemaker, started, all of a sudden, she became an entrepreneur. She became a jeweler. She started traveling to Miami, Florida to get certifications on how to become a jeweler. Through the jewelry business, I got my first little job. I volunteered to be her bookkeeper. Our parents decided to open an official branch of the business in Miami, Florida. And they met people that lived in Minnesota that fell in love with my family and said, we will help you. You guys get done with the legal part of it, so you come here legally. And then my parents came here the first time in January of '85 to scope it out. They said, you gotta come here in January, so it's the coldest time of the year. And they decided the people were so nice, the weather didn't matter to them. So my brother, he came first in August of '85. My sister, the one after me, came second. My turn came in January of '86. So I came here to a family and stayed in St. Paul, and then the next sister came in April of '86.